he got up and put a stick of wood in the stove while I was outside, you know, went out in the garage and got one and put it in, and he thought he pulled a good one on me, but I could smell. When I came in, it just reeked the whole house. Yeah, just a little exertion, and he just, and it just, oh, real, just almost burned your nose. Don't know what it is.
Melissa.
Yeah. Hmm? Yeah, he drinks, yeah, no, just a little, but he has to restrict his fluid intake. Uh-huh. That's so he can handle the fluid, you know. He hardly, I just don't give him hardly any, because that one night when he coughed so much, I'd given him a glass of milk like an idiot. Losing weight, and she had that
Melissa.
real hard cough, you know, this past fall, and she keeps getting congested, and they put her on antibiotics, and when she's on them, she's sicker than a dog, and her sugar gets out of balance, and she only weighs 107 now. Not for her height and bone structure. Yeah. Well, he's in better shape than she is, although he's caught cold again. He's 84 now. I guess we're all getting old. And we're bound to, I would like to be. But I can wait until the millennium, I guess, or something. Well, it was nice of you to call. John's kept saying, I wonder how Wayne and Ruby are. I wonder how Wayne is. And I keep...
80.
Yeah, and I keep saying, well, I'll call Saturday, but it seems like every Saturday I don't get it done because something happens. Yeah. Oh, there's just an hour. It's 20 to 8. Yeah, everybody's pretty good. Sherry's being deluged with dates. The one guy told her, kind of a counselor type, she interviewed him for an article she was writing on a divorce. He said, all you have to do is wave your temple recommend, and they come flocking. Oh dear. Sherry. Yeah, you know, her divorce is final the last day of December.
Where's she at? Tennis? Where's she at?
Yeah, she's working at the hospital, secretary and receptionist. But I say she is dating quite a bit. And she says she don't really care about getting married again on account of how she's...
About Spot.
Okay. Spot was a dog that we used to have. And he was a real good dog. He wasn't very big, but he was a real good dog. And one day I was plowing by some willows that grew along the creek, and Spot ran in the willows, and pretty soon he came back out, and I thought he had been chasing a cottontail rabbit, and he came back without any rabbit. So I said, go back in and get him, Spot. And he went back in there, and I heard him yipping and yapping in there, and pretty soon he came out again. And his nose and mouth was full of porcupine quills. He hadn't been after a rabbit at all, he'd been after a porcupine. And the porcupine just filled his face with quills. And they're things that hurt terrible bad. And I felt so sorry that I had sent him in there after that porcupine again when I thought it was a rabbit he was after. And I had to pull those porcupine quills out of his face, and it just hurt him terrible whenever I'd pull one out. But I had to get him out or he'd have died from them. And I sure felt bad about sending him back in there. I felt so bad that I went in there myself with a shovel and I found that porcupine that had put the quills in him, and I killed that porcupine with a shovel to get even with it for hurting old Spot. Because I loved old Spot. He was a good dog.
Grandpa?
Did you ever see a rabbit swim?
No.
I did once. Old Spot was chasing this rabbit, and he come down into a little curve of the creek there, and there's no way for him to get away from Spot except to swim the creek. And it was a big wide creek, as wide as this room is, or wider. And that rabbit jumped right into that creek and swam across. And that's the only time in my life I ever saw a rabbit swim. Did you know a rabbit could swim? They can if they're scared enough, and if there's a dog behind them.
And if there's something to swim in.
Another time, old Spot was chasing a rabbit down the road, right towards me. I was down the road farther than that, and he come chasing that rabbit down towards me just as fast as he could run. And I thought, well, I'll help him catch it. I'll head the rabbit off. So every time the rabbit would go one way, I'd step over in front of it, and then I'd turn the other way, and I'd step over in front of it. And when the rabbit got to me, I stepped right over in front of him, and he hit me right in the stomach. He jumped and hit me right in the stomach, and then he got away before I could get a hold of him. So Spot didn't get to catch him. That was the last of that rabbit chase.